Hey everybody, welcome to Trending. Today is Thursday, January 6th. Feels like it's been forever since we've done this, Joe.
I know.
Like, are you feeling a little rusty?
I am. I don't know. Do we need to do some warm-ups?
I don't know. We still have our Christmas decor. We still have Christmas up at our house. Have you guys made the leap to take Christmas down at your house?
Today is Epiphany.
Right.
So, we're not totally late on it.
That's one of the topics, Joe. You're killing it.
Okay, sorry, man.
So, belated Happy New Year to our friends of Trending watching today, and we'll get this taken down eventually. Maybe this week's the week. It's just sad to take down the Christmas decor. It's just a bummer of a day when you're like,
yes.
Back to real life.
I feel like it takes longer to take it down, too, so it's like a drag.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Okay, well, for the last, 3 or 4 weeks, we did something kind of different. We had all these different, kind of special holiday things. So, in case people are kind of new, what we typically do on the show is Joe and I take the top 5 trending topics, usually from Google, take some from Twitter every once in a while, and just try to look at them from kind of like a Christian worldview, Christian perspective, and just kind of comment on them and share some thoughts. So, it's been a while since we've done this, but let's get right to it.
Let's do it. Yes.
Okay. So for number 1 this week or today, the number 1, 2, and I think 5 topic were all very similar.
Whoa.
So number 1 right now is actually Bitcoin.
Okay.
So Bitcoin along with the stock market I think was number 2, and then one of the other cryptocurrencies was down below. So there's kind of these rumors that the Fed is going to start messing with interest rates, and so I think that kind of freaked people out. And so why it's trending is this Bitcoin, stock market, and all the cryptocurrencies kind of took a tank last night.
Yes.
And they're all pretty low. So are you following that at all? Are you a crypto guy?
I have not gotten into crypto. I mean, some people really are, and they've done well with it. I have not. And I kind of feel like whenever that type of news gets to me, it's already too late. Yeah. So I'm not going to probably figure that out. I did do some research on what the blockchain is. Mm-hmm. There's this great app that I use called Lucid. It's a good way to read summaries of books or like a theme and topic. So highly recommend the Lucid app. It's like a year subscription type thing, but I use it every day. Mm-hmm. So I got kind of brushed up on what the blockchain is and stuff. But it seems like everyone's I feel like those things react to a future projection. That's the stock market's kind of looking at the future. Yep. So there's I think we're just in a moment where people are a tad unsettled. Yep. I think the weather's garbage. People are quitting their job in record numbers. Prices are up on some things.
People are taking down Christmas decorations. Yeah, it's just everyone's bummed.
No, man. I think spiraling out of control, right? And so I think this is one of those moments where people are taking a deep, holding their breath, not taking a deep breath, they're holding their breath, wondering what's going to happen next. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's just some unsettledness within our culture, and so I think people are reacting to, well, what if, the hard things happen down the road. I don't want to be stuck with all this stuff. So that's not a surprise to me that coming into the new year with all this going on, there seems to be just a bit of an anxiety, including futures and stock markets and Bitcoin and stuff. So anyways, do you think that if someone wanted to give Bitcoin to Ridgepoint as an offering, that we would know what to do with that?
I'm sure a very talented bookkeeper, Becky Clausen, would know exactly what to do.
Shout out, BK. You would know what to do.
She can figure it out. I have no idea. But I have I have about $9 of Bitcoin.
Tell me about that. Not 8 or 10, but 9.
Because several months ago, Venmo was running a promo. If you use Venmo, they gave you $10 to invest in crypto. So it's $10 free. So I put $10 into Bitcoin, $10 free.
And it's 9 today?
It's currently 9 because it tanked a little bit. But I have about $9 of cryptocurrency to my name. But I know there's a couple of people from Ridgepoint who kind of went in on it, and it worked out really well for them. So it's an interesting world. Yeah. I want to give a quick shameless plug. Is that allowed?
That's fine.
So we have this other video series that we do called Ridgepoint U.
Yes.
Where I film and I interview people from Ridgepoint who are kind of experts in other fields. Right? And so several weeks ago, I talked to Lyndon Zilke, who is a financial guru, financial advisor, and he kind of broke down what Bitcoin and what the blockchain. He did a kind of 5-ish minutes rundown of what Bitcoin is. So if you're not sure what Bitcoin is, or you're interested in learning more, head over to, I guess YouTube's probably the easiest way. Go to the Ridgepoint page, and you'll see there near the top there's a clip of Lyndon explaining Bitcoin. So Anyway, for what it's worth.
That's right.
Go check it out.
And if your friend is into Bitcoin or crypto, they will find a way to tell you.
Absolutely.
I kind of feel like it's akin to CrossFit, where you don't need to ask your friend if they're in CrossFit. Like, I see you got a bag full of veggies today. Let me tell you about CrossFit. So, love you, CrossFitters. But it can kind of be overwhelming at times.
Yes. Okay, well, let's quickly move on to what you already spoiled. The number 3 topic this morning, after the finance stuff, is today's the Day of Epiphany.
Okay.
Or I guess it's also called the Three Kings Day. So I don't know much about it, but I figured you would. So why don't you enlighten us?
So in the church calendar, the day after Christmas, there's 12 days of Christmas, where we get the song from.
Yep.
After the 12 days of Christmas, we get Epiphany. This is typically where we talk about the visit from the Magi. It only happens in Matthew's Gospel, whereas the shepherds are in Luke's Gospel alone.
Okay.
The Magi are in Matthew's Gospel alone.
Okay.
And so in the church calendar has certain seasons and times, and a lot of times it's weeks of a season, and sometimes just a day.
Okay.
So this is the beginning of a season of Epiphany. So in a liturgical church, so if you're in a church where there's like a robe and stalls and like people lighting candles, like acolytes and stuff, there's a good chance that you're going to be in the first Sunday of Epiphany, the season that we're in now, and the gospel reading is going to be Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 12, which is the visit of the Magi. And so I think it's cool that on Google Trends, out of all the stuff out there with celebrities and like Premier League soccer and the stock market and anxiety, that people are still typing in Epiphany. And it's probably just to figure out what it is, more than anything else, to be brushed up on the idea. But I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So you know way more than I do. So why hasn't that holiday or that season kind of broken into evangelical world? Like, I feel like a lot of people watching probably don't know what it is. I didn't really know much about it.
So just, I guess, in a crash course, evangelicalism has parted ways over the years. It seems like every generation, the same thing happens, from anything liturgical, traditional. So where the church trends traditional, evangelicalism tends to go the other way. There's not a hierarchy in evangelicalism. We don't follow the church calendar. We don't read the lectionary readings from the Revised Common Lectionary. We tend to go through books of the Bible, chapter after chapter, section after section, instead of like a psalm reading, an Old Testament reading, a New Testament reading, gospel reading. And so it's just a different form of worship. And so people grow up generation after generation like really never experiencing liturgical communities. However, what's been happening, there's a guy named Robert Weber. He came out of school, Wheaton in Chicago, and he wrote a book called The Younger Evangelicals, because he was seeing a trend about how there's going to be a new era of evangelicalism where people would be into electric guitars and loud music, but then they would also bring in the seasons of the church again. And we've seen this because imagine a Baptist church going through the season of Lent and doing an Ash Wednesday service. Like, that was not common 50 years ago, 60 years ago, but is now. So what we're seeing is now Christians are not living segmented even in neighborhoods anymore, where there's like the Baptist church and everybody around it goes to the Baptist church. Now we all live side by side, and we're giving our best from our experiences. And what cultural theorists like Stephen Johnson have said is that things are emerging. It's swirling together. There's not a bona fide person anymore. Bona fide people are kind of boring at parties too. What we find is that we're in the era of the hyphenateds, where people are mixing and matching different, what used to be separate. People are now bringing them together. You see it even in country music, where there's a lot of hip hop and stuff like that. But now the average Christian is not like a Mennonite and Mennonite alone, but they might be like a Baptist-costal or a Presbycharismatic, where they're blending these two different streams that used to be so separate before. And so I think there is an emergence of the liturgical, because this thing's been going on for quite a long time. I think it's also because millennials, this is, I think, another thing. So I've been in ministry, almost like 20 years now, and we assume that everything's going to go contemporary. Like, traditional was going to continue to fade away, right? It was all going to be guitars, loud music, dark rooms and stuff. But there's been a reemergence of the traditional, and it's because, and this is what we think one of the reasons is, millennials, a lot of them moved quite frequently during their upbringing. Their parents were changing jobs, or they were going back and forth between two households because of separated parents. And so one of the trends of the average millennial, not all of them, and I would hate to paint them all with one brush, is that there's a craving for stability. They want something older than their t-shirt to rely on. And so there is this trend of retrieving all the traditions because it's been around a whole lot longer than I have or anyone that I know. And so there's a safety and a comfort in embracing something that's old. So there's a lady named Phyllis Tickle. She was a church history person, and she says, what we say in Episcopalianism is that it's so old, it's new again.
Right.
And it's true. The church will always retrieve stuff from its past and find ways to make it new again. And so I think that's what we're seeing in a season like Epiphany. That was a really long sermonette. And I'm sorry about that, but I think that's, I think, one of the reasons why we're seeing this emergence of a craving for this stuff again.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good to have some. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. One just kind of interesting side note. So one of the articles that was trending this morning was the Pope had a special service yesterday to kind of kick off Epiphany.
Right.
And his call to his church was to have more spiritual zeal.
Yeah.
That was the Pope's plea, his instruction to the Catholic Church was have more zeal. And so I sent it to Pastor Brent because that's what Pastor Brent's all about, is having more zeal. So
you and Father Francis,
I guess if Brent and the
same
Pope,
thing.
we got to do it.
That's right.
They're on the same page now, so we got to do what they say.
There you go. Nice.
Okay, a few more here. Just kind of a random kind of pop culture thing, but I thought was kind of interesting.
Sure.
So Jessica Chastain is trending this morning.
Okay. Isn't she in the new 355 movie?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Oh, okay.
So, it was about that movie, and she's one of the stars of it, and it's trending because she had to go to the hospital a few times, because I guess it's a lower budget film, and she did all of her own stunts, or most of her own stunts.
Okay.
A couple of them got kind of iffy, and she had a couple injuries that led her to go to the hospital. So,
wow.
That's it. She just was hospitalized for some stunts. But I mean, I always have respect for actors who at least try to do their own stunts.
That's right.
And so, yeah, I guess props to Jessica Chastain. She's okay. Everything's fine.
Nice.
But she just had a kind of a rough few days of filming, I suppose.
Okay. All right. And that thing's trending.
It's number 4 right now.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So way to go, Jessica Chastain, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Another one I'm interested to get your take on. So Hug Arkush. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right.
Okay.
He is a reporter from Chicago who's trending this morning because...
Oh, yes.
I figured you would know about this. He is a MVP voter for the NFL.
Right.
He is not a fan of Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
He made that known.
Yeah.
So a bunch of reporters get together and they get a vote for the MVP voting,
right?
Mm-hmm. So he's one of the voters. Mm-hmm. And he is trending because Aaron Rodgers is one of the leading candidates, right?
Yes. Go Pack.
And Mr. Hub is saying that he shouldn't get it because of Rodgers' whole thing with the vaccines. Mm-hmm. So that's why he's trending this morning.
Well, he called him the biggest jerk in the NFL. And certainly the truth, it might be hard to hear for Aaron Rodgers. I think he is competitive. Mm-hmm. We're Packers family.
Yep.
However, I kind of get irritable with him over, sometimes because of some things he says and does. Seems... kind of strange.
Yeah.
And it seems like he didn't take very well to hearing about this reporter calling him that, and so he called him a name back. And part of his rationale was, well, he doesn't even know me. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers knows him. So, he's calling this guy a name, and this guy called him a name. And, he kind of undermines his own rationale. So,
well, he's a reporter from Chicago, so of course he's not. If he's a Bears guy, he's not going to like the quarterback for that. I mean,
that's true, too.
You can't hide that part of it either.
That's true. And doesn't he own the Bears? I mean, didn't he say...
I don't
he
know.
said that in Chicago when he scored a touchdown. He's like, I own you. I'm like, well, okay, there you go. So, maybe he deserves a comment. But I think more than anything, there was a back and forth on ESPN about it, should that writer now be stripped of their responsibility for taking things personally instead of just evaluating the performance of an athlete?
Right.
But then somebody else said, no, writers are human beings too.
Yep.
And they can't block out the other soft skill stuff that they would hope that an MVP would have to represent the game of football, right? Pro football.
Right.
I mean, they're role models to kids and so on and so forth. And so can we at least count on them to lead the charge on things that matter within our culture? And so I think it's an interesting ordeal. I kind of wish, Aaron Rodgers could have just said, well, that's his perspective. Or he could have said, I don't even know who that guy is. That would have been a better thing.
A little burn,
than to kind of inflame it further.
Right.
But there you go.
It's, trending topic this morning. I think they are. They're not going to discount his vote. That was part of it. Is of course they're still going to keep it.
Yeah. Life is tough, Aaron Rodgers. You got to deal with it. Right?
Yes. He gets the Rodgers rate, so that's all you need.
That's right.
So okay, let's keep this quick. I don't want to go too sports deep. But is Rodgers your pick, or who would you vote for?
For MVP this year, I think I would go with Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
From the Colts. I think that all season long he's the one who's been probably the standout. Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow kind of this late surge, and then Jamar Chase like his main mate there. So I think either one of those guys would be, I think, ahead of Rodgers. I feel like he's played fantastic season. Yeah, obviously. Yeah. How about you?
Well, it's been a weird year where like so many stars were either hurt or out with COVID. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's not really like a standalone best. I would say. Yeah. You can make a pretty good case for several players. I would say. Yeah. So I don't know. I think Rodgers probably has a pretty good shot of getting it, but I don't know. Yeah. Okay, I don't want to bore people with sports talk too much.
All right.
Okay, last one, I'm surprised this wasn't on Google, but it was number one on Twitter, and I've seen a lot about it, so I thought we should just mention it.
Sure.
Today is January 6th.
Right.
So a lot of people are talking about what happened a year ago.
Right.
With the attacks or the insurrection, whatever you want to call it, on the Capitol.
Right.
I don't want to go this gets political really quickly. That's not our goal. We're not trying to rile people up. We're not trying to talk you into our political stance or whatever, but it is today. People are talking about it, so I thought we should at least bring it up.
Right.
Anything you want to say about that?
So there's been some great reporting that's coming out because they're now getting through like a lot of these arrests and indictments and arraignments of people who are there.
Yeah.
And so what you have are some folks who are remorseful, some confessing that they got really whipped up in the frenzy of the crowd mentality, the herd mentality, somebody called it. Others are doubling down with their commitments, right? Mm-hmm. I think having it now on the heels of a recent poll that came out, like where a lot of Americans, and during a poll that was just released, are saying that this might be a moment where violence is applicable for political purposes, and I just think it is it's a bit of a watershed of maybe the spirit of the age where people are so fed up. They feel like they're marginalized, and they're coming to the point where, maybe violence is in the math of how we put it back together. I would just say this: as Christians, our allegiance is to Jesus. He is the person. He was the Prince of Peace. Is the Prince of Peace. Yeah. So no matter what one's political commitment is, I would hope our discipleship of Jesus goes deeper.
Yeah.
And where we can say, hey, not so fast. Democratic, Republican parties will pass away. Jesus will not pass away.
Yep.
And so just simply doing that wager of life, I would rather line up under the lordship of Jesus than any other ideology that's out there. And so it is okay to be, Chuck Colson said, contra mundum, against the world, for the world. No matter what your political party is, if it is against the way of Jesus, it is actually for your political party's interest to be against them in this moment if they think that violence is the answer to getting our solutions to come across, period. Yeah. And so I think that's what I would say as a person of faith. In a moment like this, we need to grieve, we need to try to figure out what happened, and we need to prevent it because it was an ugly day in our nation's history. And one historian said it's going to take 50 years probably to get to the bottom of all of it.
Yeah.
And so it's going to take some time. But that should not persuade us to just try to get past it, saying it was just in the past.
Yeah.
It's still kind of in the air at this moment.
Yeah. I think you listened to the Daily podcast, right? The New York Times Daily? They did kind of an interesting... I didn't listen to today's episode, but yesterday they did kind of a deep dive on one person who, like you said, just kind of got caught up in the moment of it and kind of found himself inside the Capitol. Yeah. He didn't really mean to cause any harm, but...
Right.
Kind of a weird story, but it is a complicated thing. Like you said, we're still trying to figure. I think we don't really know what all happened.
Yeah.
But I do honestly. I think for me, I'm not I'm 33, so I'm not very old. But this is. I think I will remember where I was when I was watching this footage. I can remember a year ago.
Yeah.
And I was holding my daughter, watching the news, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I was sad and frustrated. And for me, I think it is one of those days that's kind of burned in my memory just because it was such a sad, weird day. Wherever you land, it was a weird, sad day, and I remember it pretty clearly. So
it's
crazy.
I think I feel the same way. I was talking to a friend, and we were talking about what was the most newsworthy story of the year of 2021, and I still feel like January 6th was probably, as early as it was in the year, it was probably the most newsworthy story. It seemed to really cast a shadow to shape the rest of the unwinding of the year in my mind. And I barely keep a tab on politics. I do just enough to stay informed along the way here, but it is still something that I always remember. Yeah, for sure.
Sad day, but hopefully some good will come out as they're still trying to unwind what all happened. And like you said, hopefully things like that won't happen again.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
All right, well, I didn't mean to end on a downer.
Well, how do you pivot from
We should have done NFL or Epiphany or something first, but at least we got some good church history. We got some football. Got some Jessica Chastain trivia out of the way. So
all right. Sounds good.
Okay, anything else to wrap up today?
We did our predictions last episode.
Yes.
And Sister Jean does have those under her lock and care. I'll put a picture up right here on the screen of her watching over those things. I can't wait to see how great our predictive powers are.
I'm excited to see if any. I think we've got a decent shot of at least a few of them coming true.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I
hope the Cheetos burrito comes first. Oh, I'm ready for a Cheetos burrito.
Praise the Lord.
Quick shout out to my friend Nicole Friesen.
Okay.
Nicole caught me on Sunday and let me know that one of her students actually has made Cheetos burritos. So it's out in the ether. It's happening. So
that's good.
Cheetos burritos coming soon to a Taco Bell near you.
Coming at you. All right. Nice.
All right. Well, on that note, thanks for watching. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.